Here we go. The 16th European Championships are about a week away now, so it's time to take stock of the teams involved and the various groups. What's up? I'm Adrian, and yes, I know I'm doing the groups in the wrong order, but don't worry, A, B, and C will be out in the next 24 hours. I just couldn't wait to do these ones, so I figured why not do them first? But you won't have to wait long, 24 hours, that's it. Plus, I'll have more in-depth previews for some of the contenders, if you will, of the tournament that you won't want to miss. It's gonna be great. Speaking of, make sure you don't miss a single piece of region-locked content during this Euro 2020, thanks to our sponsors, Surfshark. Surfshark, friends of the channel, and a service I use every day whether I'm streaming matches or protecting my data online, both on my phone and on my computer, since there's no limit to how many devices you can use on one account. That is a huge win for all of its users, and it's made a world of a difference. Throw it on your computer or your phone, your Apple TV, your Fire Stick, even your PlayStation or Xbox, so you can jump on any gaming servers you choose around the world, anonymously. The beauty of it all is that your usage is completely anonymous, as mentioned just a second ago, and Surfshark don't keep any logs when it comes to your browsing, none. And like I was saying before, us football fans, we love to stream stuff, and you not only do that anonymously, but with Surfshark, you unlock streaming sites that are region locked, like DAZN, Netflix, all sorts around the world. Surfshark also offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, meaning it's risk-free bars, so give it a shot using the link in the description now to get Surfshark VPN and enter the promo code Rabona TV to get 83% off and 3 months for free, and you'll help the channel in the process. All right, guys, straight into it. Group D now. Group D consists of England, Scotland, World Cup finalist Croatia, and Czech Republic. This group has two sides that will benefit from being some of the lucky ones, that being that they are fortunate enough to be playing all or most of their matches at home. Those teams are, of course, Scotland and England. However, the fact that two host countries, if you will, are in the same group actually does benefit the whole group, as they won't have to travel too far, just between Glasgow and London, unlike teams like Poland, who we will highlight the sheer amount of air miles they will rack up during the group stage, as they have to fly between Seville and St. Petersburg over and over. We'll start with England, as they certainly have an exciting squad this time around. A young, skilled, attack-minded, and informed squad that Gareth Southgate will have a lot of headaches in trying to choose a starting 11. With the likes of Sancho, Foden, Mount, Rashford providing youthful exuberance, pace, and skill, complemented by one of the best strikers in the world in England captain Harry Kane. In the midfield, there's Declan Rice, coming off of an extremely strong campaign with Europa League-bound West Ham. Jordan Henderson is in a race to find fitness in time for the tournament, but Jude Bellingham, if given a chance, has shown that he's ready for international football. For Dortmund, he was a key box-to-box midfielder, showing his maturity and defensive discipline, which complemented his ability going forward quite well. People were making a lot of noise about how Southgate elected to choose 4 right backs. Yes, it seems strange on paper, but Southgate has at times played with 3 at the back and at times with 4 at the back. He could play a 3 at the back with Reece James or Walker as a right center back alongside Maguire and Stones. Trippier could also play as a right wing back or a right back. He has options on that side now. Unfortunately for Trent Alexander-Arnold, he picked up an injury in a friendly and is ruled out for the tournament. One area that doesn't leave me fully convinced for England is in goal, so long as Pickford is the starter. When he's on, he's fantastic, but he is prone to lapses. Will be interesting to see if Henderson gets some game time. With a maximum capacity of 22,500 spectators at Wembley, where England will play every group stage match, you'd expect them to get out of the group. After 23 years and some near misses, Scotland finally managed to qualify for an international tournament. Cue Baccara, yes sir, I can boogie. I couldn't stop listening to it while I made this. It was no fluke that this Scottish side qualified for the tournament. It took a lot of graft and a nerve-wracking shootout victory over Serbia, but Steve Clarke's talented side got the job done. They don't boast the deepest squad in the tournament, but Scotland's starting 11 should provide plenty of difficulty for their Group D opponents. Andy Robertson and Tierney flying down the wings, McGinn and McTominay in the midfield, with youngster Billy Gilmour waiting patiently for his opportunity. As one of the nations that houses a host city for the tournament, Hampden Park will hopefully provide the Scots with the edge they need in order to get the best of their opponents. Not too many players stand out in the Scottish attack. Perhaps McGinn can help drive the attack forward, but I have belief in their defensive abilities under Clark. Will it be enough for them to get out of the group? Hey, maybe. That draw against the Netherlands was certainly promising. World Cup finalist Croatia come into this tournament boasting another very talented squad. Sure, an integral piece to their World Cup run in Mario Mandzukic has retired, as has former captain Vedran Čorluka and Ivan Rakitic, at least from international football. But the talent factory has continued their production, and perhaps still their top player, Luka Modric, has been in fantastic form during the 2020-21 season for Real Madrid. Ivan Perisic will have some competition down the left flank from VfL Wolfsburg's exciting youngster Josip Brekalo, who finished the season in great form. Andrej Kramaric is coming into this tournament having scored 20 goals for Bundesliga strugglers Hoffenheim, so hopes will be high that he can fill in for Mandzukic and provide plenty of competition for Ante Rebic. Their midfield has plenty of talent: Mario Pasalic from Atalanta, Modric, Kovacic from Chelsea, Nikola Vlasic, who was fantastic for CSKA Moscow recently. In defense, Lovren is fresh off of a league win with Zenit, and the very much sought after Kaletakar is likely to partner him ahead of Livakovic in goal. So the talent is there for Croatia, but the results have been poor since their 2018 World Cup. They nearly dropped out of League A in the Nations League after just edging Sweden on goal difference, and their away form has been quite terrible. That said, they still boast a very talented side and will provide plenty of difficulties. After a strong showing in Euro 2004, the Czech Republic has had a tough go of things in recent tournaments, most recently exiting in the group stage of the 2016 edition of the European Championships. I recently rewatched a recap of Euro 2004. Why I did that to myself, I don't know. But that Czech side with the likes of Nedved, Milan Beroš, Jan Koller, Rosický, Poborský, pretty fun to watch. But anyway, while their squad doesn't boast that kind of talent these days, the Czechs could surprise some in Euro 2020. Patrik Schick is looking more and more like a legitimate striker, despite a bit of a barren run to close out the season with Bayer Leverkusen. The West Ham duo of Susek and Soufal are a massive boon to manager Jaroslav Silhavi's defense. Susek was also a huge boon to Moyes going forward this season. One player who will perhaps be that young attacker that could set the nation's hopes alight is Adam Hlozek of Sparta Prague, recently linked with Liverpool and Arsenal, amongst other Premier League clubs. He finished the season with 15 goals and 8 assists in just 19 appearances. That's quite impressive. They are certainly familiar with Scotland, as they were in the same Nations League group. Despite the Czech Republic winning their Nations League B group, Scotland actually did the double over the Czechs. In one of the matches, the Czechs had an insane COVID outbreak and had to use some second and sometimes third choice players, while in the other, the astute defense of Scotland saw them hold on to their very early lead. The Czechs and England were actually in the same qualifying group, England winning one match 5-0 and losing the other 2-1. And of course, the bonus: how could I see this group potentially shaping up? Which should be taken with a grain of salt, of course. I think England will finish, with a minimum of 7 points, getting wins over the Czechs and Scotland at home in Wembley, perhaps a draw with Croatia. I think Croatia will go through in second, and Scotland will finish third, just ahead of the Czechs. Here we go, one of the groups I am very much looking forward to, consisting of Poland, Spain, Sweden, and Slovakia, aka the PS group. Spain and Sweden were in the same qualifying group for this tournament, finishing 1 and 2 in the standings. Poland finished first in their group, and Slovakia made their way in via the qualifying playoffs after they defeated Northern Ireland. As mentioned, Poland made light work of the opposition in qualifying, winning 8 and dropping points on just 2 occasions. But considering they have a striker of Lewandowski's stature, they weren't exactly prolific when it came to scoring goals, scoring just 18 goals in 10 matches. Perhaps that's the reason why Jerzy Berzecek was replaced by Paulo Sousa. With that sort of attacking might, backed up by the likes of Napoli's Piotr Zielinski and Arkadiusz Milik, Berzecek's cautious approach was slammed by Polish Federation head Boniek, saying it was a, quote, frightened approach. Paulo Sousa has had a decent start, with Lewandowski scoring 3 goals under the new manager, prior to him picking up that injury during the last international break, of course. In the midfield, all the familiar names are there: Krychowiak, Kamil Glik, Matus Klik, Linetti. The backline is definitely the sore point for Poland in my eyes, but Sousa has a wealth of options in goal, with Szczesny and Fabianski likely competing to be the starter, but Lukasz Skorupski, he's no slouch either. I actually would go with Fabianski myself in this tournament, to be honest with you, as Szczesny wasn't in great form to close things out with Juventus. With someone who can be as decisive as Lewandowski, there's always a chance for Poland, of course. The question will be whether he shows up or not, as he has gone missing at times during major tournaments for Poland. Great in qualifying, but a different guy in the tournaments. That said, he's fresh off of an incredible year. And with the talent surrounding him, anything is possible. One thing that is a major burden for Poland: they will fly more than any other team during the group stage, flying from St. Petersburg to Seville and back again. So I'm interested to see if that has any effect on their fitness. They really got the short end of the stick there, didn't they? So as we know, Sweden finished behind Spain in qualifying, looking great in doing so. And with the news that Zlatan was returning to the team, suddenly Sweden's prospects looked even better for the tournament. But that lasted about a minute, as an injury has ruled Zlatan out for this tournament, unfortunately for him. But that said, Sweden looks solid going forward. You have Kulusevski, Isaac from Real Sociedad, Emil Forsberg of Leipzig, Marcus Berg has been decent in Russia once again, though not as prolific as the season prior. Would have been a different story going into Euro 2020 if it happened when it was scheduled to. But Jan Andersson has this team playing an extremely disciplined and defensively astute game, just as they did at the 2018 World Cup, where they advanced to the knockout stages at the expense of Germany. And Victor Lindelof will no doubt be at the center of that in Andersson's favored 4-4-2 formation, quite possibly partnered by Philip Helander, who is fresh off of winning the Scottish Premiership with Rangers. I don't expect Sweden to beat Spain. They lost 3-0 away to them in qualifying, and we'll have to play them again in Spain. The matches against Poland and Slovakia will leave Sweden with an opportunity to get the 3 points, but it will be very difficult, and their defense will be tested by Lewandowski. Their match against Slovakia, now they could definitely find some joy there. Slovakia will be playing in their second consecutive European Championships after qualifying for their first ever back in 2016, where they advanced as one of the best third-place teams but fell 3-0 to Germany in the round of 16, while they finished third in qualifying behind Wales and Croatia for this tournament. A very tight group, that one. They made it into the tournament via the playoffs. Slovakia have a decent keeper in Martin Dubravka, a fantastic defender in Milan Skriniar, who changed the mind of Antonio Conte throughout the season at Inter, actually, and they still have Marek Hamšík to look to in midfield. It's crazy. He leaves Italy in 2019, goes to China for a couple of years, and now he's back in Europe playing for Sweden's IFK Göteborg, which was an unexpected move. Slovakia's supporters don't have a ton to look forward to in this tournament, as they were undoubtedly the weakest of the four in Group E. I hate to say it, I'm sorry. They may be decent in defense, but even that is a bit of a stretch, and is mostly hoping for Skriniar to carry the defensive load on his back. Either one of the Irelands could have eliminated them during the playoffs, but they just misfired. In the middle, there are plenty of 30-plus-year-olds to choose from. Going forward, they're a bit uninspiring, but I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll pull off a surprise, just as they did to Spain in Euro 2016 qualifying. Now, Spain, of course, made major waves from their squad selection alone, even more than Gareth "4 right-back Southgate's England announcement. Why? Because Luis Enrique not only chose to go with 24 players instead of the 26 that he was allowed to choose, but he decided to not choose a single Real Madrid player. Yes, Real Madrid players have been extremely fragile this season, notably Sergio Ramos and Dani Carvajal, but to rather take 2 fewer players than you are allowed to, instead of just bringing on a guy like Nacho just in case, I mean, it's a bit of a strange call from Enrique, especially when, if it was fitness issues that were the deciding factor, the decision to bring Barcelona's Eric Garcia along doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The man had 6 appearances for City this season, and people will be forced into pointing to Enrique's Barcelona ties because of calls like this. But that being said, Spain's squad is still one of the better ones in the competition, but not one of the best that they have taken to a major tournament in the last decade or so. Their defense definitely doesn't look as strong as the Ramos and Piqué pairings of the past have boasted. Instead, we'll see, I guess, Aymeric Laporte, who's never played with Spain before, and Garcia, Pau Torres, Azpilicueta at right back, Jordi Alba at left back. I mean, it's an interesting back line, and David De Gea or Brighton's Robert Sanchez in goal. That's going to be a tough call for Enrique. The midfield, however, looks pretty damn good. Thiago, Marcos Llorente, Busquets has shown he's still an effective player, Rodri, Dani Olmo, Ferran Torres, and going forward, you have Alvaro Morata, Oyarzabal, Gerard Moreno, and Pedri. They'll do their best to produce going forward. It's a strong Spanish side, but it feels like there is just something missing in comparison to others, as if they are lacking that player who is truly world-class and dominant in their respective position. That said, they managed to get through qualifying quite convincingly, not losing a single match, drawing twice, finishing ahead of Sweden and Norway. They definitely beat up on the bottom half of the table, that's for sure. And I think that Spain definitely have enough to finish top of this group ahead of Sweden in second and Poland in third. Apologies to Slovakia, who I can only see getting fourth. I'm sorry, Slovakians. And last but definitely not least, Group F, the undisputed group of death, pitting France, Germany, and Portugal in the same ring, with Hungary jumping in to boot. That Hungary versus Portugal match from Euro 2016, that was an absolute classic. What a doozy. But anyways, the 2018 World Cup winner, the 2016 European Championship winner, and the 2014 World Cup winner all in the same group. It should be pretty fun. So, the current world champions, and by the looks of their squad and their depth, you'd be hard-pressed to find a stronger candidate for favorites of the tournament. Who knows? Maybe they'll go full Germany 2018 and crash and burn, but it doesn't seem likely. Or maybe I'm trying to jinx them. I'm joking. I'd never do that. And with all of that depth in every single position, Deschamps bolstered the squad further in bringing Karim Benzema back into the fold after close to 6 years without getting selected. Questions about how he will feature in the side are warranted, as France had a World Cup winning system with Giroud at the helm. Respect to Giroud, the runs he makes and his off-ball work, but thinking of this French side with Benzema, an in-form Benzema by the way, it's a bit frightening, isn't it? Griezmann, Mbappe, Benzema or Giroud in the attack with Coman or Marcus Thuram supporting, Pogba behind them, Kante appearing all over the pitch, and their back line isn't too bad either, is it? I mean, considering Deschamps was able to leave Dayot Upamecano at home, I mean, that really says a lot, doesn't it? They qualified with just a single loss against the potential dark horses Turkey. In fact, they failed to beat Turkey across 2 attempts in qualifying. Hungary had a bit of a tough time in making it to Euro 2020, but they did so in the end via the playoff route. Given that Finland managed to qualify via the Euro qualifiers, their playoff spot was given to Hungary, with Italian manager Marco Rossi at the helm. Overcame Bulgaria in their first playoff, and with some heroics from Dominik Szoboszlai, in the final minutes against Iceland, Hungary booked their place at Euro 2020. Scenes on the pitch. Unfortunately for Rossi and Hungary, the man who contributed greatly to Hungary's second consecutive Euro qualification, Dominik Szoboszlai, has been ruled out of the tournament as his abductor problems, the same ones that have prevented him from making his RB Leipzig debut, they continue to haunt him. But Hungary have been in great form as of late, and while their qualifiers were nothing to be overly optimistic about, everything since their playoff victories have been fantastic. RB Leipzig duo Gulácsi and Willi Orban contribute to the defensive solidity that Rossi has injected into this team, as they will look to draw their opponents onto themselves before trying to hurt them in transition. Given the names they will be up against, it will be difficult for Hungary in this group, but given Budapest is one of the host cities and Hungary will be playing 2 of their 3 group matches in front of a 100% capacity crowd, I mean, never say never. Nobody expected them to finish in first in their group in 2016, but they pulled it off. Another side with plenty of depth in most areas of the pitch, Germany will feel like they need to redeem themselves after their horrid display at the 2018 World Cup. Is Jogi Löw's final crack at international glory with Germany, as he will be replaced by Hansi Flick following this tournament, so the pressure is on there. Germany lost just 1 match in qualifying, a 4-2 loss at home against Koeman's Netherlands. Back when the Netherlands were contenders, now, I mean, well, you'll see in our preview video. With Neuer as the nearly unchallenged starter, given that Ter Stegen is recovering from knee surgery, let's jump to the back line. And with the massive turnaround in form from Antonio Rudiger under Thomas Tuchel, you'd expect him to be the starter alongside either Süle or Hummels, or perhaps both, if Löw sticks with the 3-4-3 that he used in a pre-tournament friendly against Denmark, as Klostermann and Robin Gosens operated as wingbacks. I would expect a trio of Bayern players to play centrally, Kimmich, Goretzka as central midfielders, with Thomas Müller ahead of them. It's going to be quite the conundrum for Löw, as there are plenty of talented players in the midfield and the attack. Havertz and Werner will be there, and with Havertz scoring in the Champions League final to win the tournament for Chelsea, he'll be riding a wave of confidence. Werner, perhaps the opposite of which, given his difficulties this season, difficulties that actually bled into his national team performances at times. But, I mean, time will tell there. Maybe that Champions League win will have him on that same confidence wave. Serge Gnabry is back from injury. Leroy Sané will be pushing to start as well. Kevin Volland is coming off of a great season with AS Monaco. I mean, I don't envy Louv's task of choosing just 11 players. Similarly, I don't envy Fernando Santos when it comes to choosing a starting 11 either, as Portugal will come into this tournament as one of the favorites, and understandably so, as this team is far more gifted than the one that conquered the 2016 edition of the tournament thanks to that lightning bolt from Eder. Of course, Cristiano Ronaldo catches headlines wherever he goes, and this will be no different in his quest to break the all-time international goal-scoring record, but this time, he has far more support, legitimate support going forward, with Andre Silva coming into this tournament having scored 28 goals in the Bundesliga alone for Eintracht Frankfurt, Diogo Jota, fresh off of a successful but injury-ravaged first season with Liverpool. Then there's João Felix as well, who has something to prove after a not great season with Atletico. Then there's the support just behind the front line from the likes of Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, Renato, Pedro Gonçalves as one of the new faces, Ruben Neves, Moutinho, etc. Portugal has some fantastic options, don't they? Their backline isn't too bad either. Pepe showed in Porto's Champions League run that even at 37, he could be a dominant defender, just as he was for Portugal at Euro 2016, where, in my opinion, he was Portugal's best player. Ruben Dias is fresh off of a great first season with Manchester City. José Fonte helped Lille to their Liga title win, while Nelson Semedo, João Cancelo, Rafa Guerreiro, and Sporting's 18-year-old Nuno Mendes will fight for the fullback positions. In goal, we'll likely see Rui Patricio, but Anthony Lopes will be a great option as well. While Fernando Santos' record with Portugal is quite impressive, the football is not always beautiful to watch. You sometimes get the feeling that in spite of having incredible attacking talents, they can be a bit too negative and sometimes guilty of, just get the ball to Ronaldo. That said, I still expect Portugal to go through in second, just behind France, with Germany in third and Hungary unfortunately outgunned in fourth. And that will do it. That's all for this preview. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you will leave your picks below as well. We'll have a ton of content for you during this tournament. Watch-alongs, videos, everything. So subscribe if you're new. My name's Adrian, this is Rabona TV, and we'll catch you later. Take care.